Okay, so when it comes to doing the hull, I think we're going to start with this part. You can see the hull is going to be separated from the superstructure. So we're going to have that white section. You can see the three colors of the main hull are going to be, we're going to have red, we're going to have black, and we're going to have white. The white for the top part of the superstructure. Now there's going to be a white strip that's going to go around the ship as well. Instead of doing it this way, I think what we're going to do is we'll paint the hull without the superstructure on. That way there we'll do the red, we'll do the black, and then we'll do the white strip around. And then we'll be able to add the superstructure. But the first thing I want to do, as you can see, we're going to have to drill out all these holes. And it looks like there was a little bit of glue dropped on there. So before we paint the outer hull, we'll sand it. But what I want to do is I want to put the chrome. Let me show you guys. I like using the Rust-Oleum metallic finish. And we're going to put that on the inside of the hull, and it's going to reflect where we put the light stripping in. And what I'd like to do also is we're going to do the under parts of the ship that are going to be sitting on top that are, we want it to reflect the lighting back down towards the bottom so it comes out the sides of the windows. So we're going to have this part for the stern, and obviously this part is, for the bow, and this part will be for the stern. You can see the tennis court on it. So that'll go right there. You guys can see from the instructions, we have two main parts at the bow and the stern. Then we have, it looks like, this part that goes in the back of the ship. I would think that would be the front, but this goes to the back of the ship. And it's going to rest, let's see, right here, and just like that. I think it's going to go like that. Anyway, this is the part that's going to face down, so we want that. We got the main deck right here, or the main part. You can see where the people already glued the boats to the top, but we're going to want to paint the bottom. So we're going to paint that silver. So this is going to be the main part. Going to go like that. And then we have the superstructure. We'll probably paint that as we go along. Let's see, we got this part that's going to go to the forward of the ship. Let's see how much of this is actually going to show. And they're going to go like that. Better. So this part and the one in the front. The reason I'm doing this, I just want to make sure that we're going to get the right sides for everything that we're going to paint. Because what I think I want to do is all the sides or all the surfaces that are going to reflect, we want it to be the silver paint, so it'll reflect the light strip right back down and into the sides of the windows and down to these. And let's see, this section as well. Yeah, so there's going to be quite a bit that we're going to need to paint silver. I think that's it, though. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to get all these parts. Now, we already washed everything in hot soapy water, so they're all set to go. And is that it? Yep. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take these parts and we're going to go paint them. And we're going to paint them with the Rust-Oleum, the metallic finish. That way there they'll have a nice reflective surface on the inside of the ship. Okay, so I got everything outside. And what I'm going to want to do is I put everything the right way on the surface that needs to be sprayed. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to spray the surface, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's all sprayed. There. I think it's only going to be one coat that I'm going to put on. I think that's all I'm going to need. You can see it looks pretty good. So, because this is New England, it's in the 50s right now out here. So probably not the most ideal paint drying weather. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the pieces back into the house, and we'll let them dry in the house. Okay, so I just brought everything in the house. You can see it's a little bit easier to see how everything came out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let it dry. The Rust-Oleum, it sets up really great, but it takes a little while to cure. So I'll probably go back to this tomorrow. But we'll let it dry, and I'll show you what we do next after it's all nice and bone dry and cured. Okay, so it had a little bit of time to dry. Actually, it brings out the letters really well. Revell Incorporated, Venice, California, SS, United States. Copyright 1955. That's pretty cool. I think what I'm going to do is we're going to do the bottom of the hull first. And we're going to paint it red. And then we're going to mask that off, and we'll do the white and then the black. So I think that's what we're going to do first. So I did go ahead and I sanded that area that looked like that there was glue on it. So that's all set. We're going to use the Krylon Color Max. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do the bottom of the ship right to that water line. Alright, we're going to paint the hull red. Let's see if I can do this and hold the camera. I don't think I'll have to give it 2 coats, but we'll see. Alright, let's turn it around. And this is the paint plus the primer, so let's see how that does. Yeah, that looks pretty good. It's looking along the bottom. So, let's see, let's give it a good look on the other side again. Actually, that looks pretty good. Alright, so let's that dry. We'll let that dry, and then I'll show you guys what it looks like to see if we need another coat or not. Alright, so it had some time to dry, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put another coat on it, because you can see it's a little rough. So we'll put another coat on, and hopefully it'll smooth it out. And I'll show you what that looks like when it's on. Yeah, that looks a little bit better. You can see it's a little smoother. So we'll wait for this to dry, and I'll show you what it looks like when we're ready to move on. Alright, so I just gave it a 3rd coat. I didn't like the way it looked when it dried, so I sanded it slightly, and I gave it another coat. I don't want to keep giving it coats. This is the last coat that I give it, regardless, but it looks more smooth. You can see on the sides. I mean, I don't want to cake it with paint, because we do have to drill out the windows, and I just want to make sure that we can still see the windows. So let me show you the other side. So this is the last coat of red. So now we got to wait for this to dry, and I'll show you what we do when we move on. Okay, so we got the hull nicely painted. And what I think I'm going to do now is we're going to mask off this section. That way there, we can do the white line. Instead of doing the black and then having to mask it off twice to do the white line, I think what I'm going to do is we're going to mask off the red, the water line, and I'm going to use some white paint, and we'll paint along the area. And we're not going to paint the whole ship, just we're going to focus on that area just to get the line. And when that's dry, we'll mask that off again and we'll do the black. I think that'll be easier. And you can see the reflecting paint doing its job. So we can do is, what I'll do now is we'll go ahead and we're going to mask off the section of the ship. And I'm going to use, I like the blue masking tape because it's not as sticky. We don't want any of the paint to come off. It shouldn't. This is the Rust-Oleum, and I love the Rust-Oleum. Looks pretty good. So I'll show you what it looks like after it's all masked up and ready to paint. Before I mask it, I think I'm going to put the anchors on just to get that all set. So let's see. The anchors, number 31. Here's one of them. And we get the center anchor. All right, so let's try to find the other one. I think, is this it? Yep, that's it. Okay, so let's glue the anchors into position. That way we won't have to worry about putting that on later. All right, and I like the super glue. Okay, so let's get the super glue. Okay, so it's going to go at an angle. That's what the instructions are showing. Okay, so the front one is going to go, well, I know this is really small. Okay, with that section up like this. And that's going to go into the little notch. A little drop more, just to make sure it doesn't come off. Okay, so we got the port anchor and we have the center anchor. And now we can move on to the starboard side. And it's going to go just like that. All right, so we're going to let this dry. Give it a couple minutes, we'll let it set, and then it'll be all set, and then we can mask off the bottom. So when it comes to the bottom of the hull, what color do they want the stands? See, they look like girders. It's not the greatest looking stand that we could use. I gotta see if I could figure out a way to make a base with these. If I could figure out, I got a few ideas on how to mount these to a base and then run the wire underneath so we can put the battery pack. But when this is all dry and we're ready to mask it off, I'll show you guys what we do next. It had a little while to dry. And let's go ahead and we're going to mask off the bottom of the red section. And what's good about this is that it's got that line that'll kind of guide us along. There. Now I'm ready to go and paint, and I'm going to use the Fast Dry, and I'll show you guys what it looks like after the hull's painted black. Alright, so I gave it a good heavy coat, and I might have to give it another coat because it's actually reacting with the paint on the bottom. And you guys know nothing can go smoothly. For some reason it's not setting up over there, so when it's dry I'll sand it and I'll give it another coat over there. But the rest of it looks pretty good, so I'll show you guys what it looks like when it's dry. Okay, so the paint had some time to dry. So the black section is done. Kind of go around and show you the stern. So what we're going to do now is we're going to mask off, and we're going to do that white line. I was thinking about painting it with a brush because I didn't want to put the tape on the paint, but I think I'm going to tape it, mask it off. It'll come out better. I want the edges to be crisp and smooth. So I'll show you guys what it looks like when we mask it off. Yeah, all set. Once we paint it, we'll be able to take the masks off, and I'll show you guys what it looks like. Alright, so it had some time to dry. It's not totally dry, but I want to get the tape off as soon as possible because I don't want to leave the tape on the hull. So let's go ahead and start to peel it off. And once it's completely dry, what we can start to do is I'll just do the little touch-ups that we need to get the lines crisp again. And after that, we'll pretty much be able to start wiring. And when that's all nice and dry, we'll move on. But for what I'm going to do right now is we're going to let it really, really dry well, so we can take care of all those bleeds and imperfections.